Hello and welcome to the webinar. I'm Magdalena Ivanova, a product marketing manager at WoodWing, and I will be moderating the webinar today. Personally, I hope you'll find this session useful as you'll be able to learn about how you can use an integrated set of tools to improve your creative workflow. Now, the integrated set of tools in this case is WoodWing Assets, which is a digital asset management solution, and Wrike, a task management tool. We will also have the opportunity to present the use case of this integration through the eyes of our customer, Cipla. Cipla is a global pharmaceutical company headquartered in India. And today, our guest, Steven van Herden, Head of Design and Digital at Cipla MedPro, which is actually the South African subsidiary of Cipla, will talk about how they use these two integrated solutions to better manage their creative workflow and deliver successful and timely projects. Now, before we start, I would like to remind you of the following house rules. Participants other than the speakers are muted. You can post your questions in the GoToWebinar panel, which is easily found on your right side of the screen. Questions may be asked throughout the webinar, and we really hope we will try to answer most of them at the end. However, you will receive info of the recording within 1 day after the webinar finishes. Now, this slide, we have the speakers that are going to join the webinar. As mentioned earlier, Steven van Herden from Cipla will share his experience with the integration between WoodWing and Wrike. From WoodWing's side, we have Tom Peisel, our senior product manager at WoodWing, and he will be showcasing the integration with a short demo at the end. Then we have Juan Porres, product manager at Wrike, and he'll be presenting more about Wrike. And of course, join Tom in the demo session at the end. And of course, myself, your moderator for today and presenter. The agenda is as follows. First, we start with a short introduction to Wrike, then a short introduction about WoodWing. A short overview of the integration will follow, and after that, our speaker will share their findings. In the end, as said, we will demonstrate how these tools interact together to help you collaborate on creating amazing digital assets. The last part will be the Q&A session, where our speakers will try to answer your questions. Please note that if time does not allow to answer every single question, then you will receive your answers in a follow-up email message. I would like to now ask Juan Porres to start the part about Wrike. Juan, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you for having us. It's exciting to be a part of this webinar. Why don't we go to the next slide, and I can tell you why more than 20,000 customers are using Wrike today with more than 20 million users. At our core, we're one of the leading collaborative work management platforms in the world. What this means is we provide an easy-to-use tool for streamlining your internal project management and collaboration processes between your team members, whether you're sitting in the same office or working from home, as is common in today's world. Let's go to the next slide. And we're not limited to one vertical or another. In fact, one of our strengths is we can work in a number of industries and still provide those same values across your organization, your teams, or your individuals, right? So marketing is a big part of our business because we do help the creative workflow be more transparent, move more efficiently, but we're not just servicing that industry. Our use cases go from business operations to IT, product management, professional services, human resources, and much, much more. And the main reason why they choose Wrike is, as I said, easy to use, easily configurable to any of your department needs, and easily scalable across companies that go to hundreds of thousands of employees. Next slide, please. So what is Wrike? The product itself consists of multiple pieces that allow you to plan and do better in your job. One of those features that is hugely popular is we help with go-to-market planning and improving visibility across teams. In the image, you see a combination of a Gantt view that someone's using to plan their project across with a table view that someone else might prefer, right? We get real-time, big picture visibility of everything that's happening. This helps us easily spot issues and bottlenecks and address them right away without waiting for an email or a meeting or a PowerPoint presentation to make those decisions. Next slide. Part of our creative workflow benefit is in our advanced file proofing, approvals, and publishing, which we'll be demoing later on. Essentially, this helps us tie in what used to be a siloed department into the business management processes. So by leveraging our proofing, approvals, and publishing, any creative person can add their images to a Wrike task or project. Those can then be sent to any manager or supervisor for review. The manager can easily comment on any of these images, PDFs, PowerPoints, even HTML pages, then approve them and again submit it to the entire team once it's approved. So it streamlines the entire creative approval process in a logical, efficient, fast-moving manner. And we're not limited to one-on-one interactions. We can invite external individuals, clients, executive stakeholders that are outside of the Wrike environment to review, comment, and approve as well. Next slide. So once files are approved or previewed or not approved, we continue the collaborative experience in what we call our task or project views, where we can work with one another, align on our ideas, and empower our teams in a very, let's just call it efficient and fast-paced environment where everyone can communicate. Next slide. Now, the beauty of Wrike is we're not just focused on Wrike-to-Wrike communication. In fact, we integrate seamlessly with more than 400 tools out there. This allows any type of organization to templatize and optimize their repeating projects. This also enables complex or elaborate marketing operation systems to streamline their entire request intake processes. And we can even go beyond Wrike to integrate and automate across existing tools, your marketing stack, bringing campaign information into Wrike if you want to. One of the most important pieces within Wrike is our ability to provide a highly secure environment. And as a result, we've been able to work with some of the biggest enterprise companies in the world.
Thank you, Juan, for this great presentation about Wrike. Next, I will be speaking about WoodWing and our solutions for publishers and brands. Now, WoodWing provides the technology for leading brands and publishers to tell their stories. I'm happy to share that WoodWing turned 20 this year and has more than 1,200 global customers and a huge network of partners around the world. Our content orchestration platform sits at the heart of your storytelling processes. Now, while marketers believe that the right tools positively impact the quality of their storytelling, all too often the tools they use are disconnected and fragmented with inconsistent workflows. This is why we believe marketers need to think in terms of content orchestration. Indeed, a state in which tools are seamlessly integrated and working with one another, combined with strong workflow management, training, and organization. Now, the solutions that form the heart of our content orchestration platform are a digital asset management solution, WoodWing Assets, multi-channel content creation solution, WoodWing Studio, and digital content production system. Now, WoodWing Assets is a digital asset management solution to centrally manage your digital assets across the entire content lifecycle. What's good here is to mention is that it has a best of breed Adobe Creative Suite integration and helps creative teams to seamlessly manage the creation of new digital assets. So simple as that, you can create, manage, reuse, and share. WoodWing Studio helps you create amazing content in the most efficient way, using a channel-neutral approach. Now, what this means is that you can easily adapt your content to be published on any print or digital channel. Just simply plan, produce, publish, and repurpose. To summarize, some of the benefits of using our solutions are that you can easily accelerate your creative process, streamline your workflows, and simply share your stories with the world. Before starting with the short overview of the integration, I would like to mention that actually both WoodWing Assets and WoodWing Studio integrate with Wrike. In this case, we will only focus on the integration between WoodWing Assets and Wrike because also our customer is using this set of tools. What you can actually do with this integration is that you can directly attach digital assets stored in WoodWing Assets and use Wrike's review and annotation tools to speed up the creative design process. This will help you optimize your creative process even further, save you time and effort in collaborating with team members to create content, and it will allow you to maintain brand consistency by getting control over your digital assets. Now, I would like to ask Steven to start his part of the presentation and guide you through their creative workflow before and after they started using the integration between WoodWing Assets and Wrike. A quick reference to the logo shown on the screen. I would like to thank our partner APS, which is our partner in South Africa, responsible for implementing these two solutions at Cipla. Also, Andrew Parrington from APS is present, and he will also join us for the Q&A part. Feel free to ask any questions regarding the implementation of these solutions, of course, from a technical perspective. Steven, would you do me the honors?
Good day, everyone. I am Steven van Heerden from Cipla, South Africa. Cipla is a global pharmaceutical company dedicated to high-quality, branded and generic medicines. We are trusted by healthcare professionals and patients across geographies. Over the past 8 decades, we have strengthened our leadership in the pharmaceutical industry and fortified our promise of caring for life. We have an 83-year heritage, 25,000 employees, 1,500 plus products, 80 countries we sell in, and 44 manufacturing facilities worldwide. But today I will be talking to you about Cipla's creative workflow, the past, the present, and the benefits of this WoodWing Assets and Wrike integration. It all started with a solutions partner that invested in our business, Automated Publishing Services. APS is one of the leaders in publishing and has been for the past 30 years, but has been part of the Cipla family for the past 6 years, aiding and assisting us with our production concepts, publishing automation, solution procurement, vendor administration, integrations development, wireframing, and bespoke projects. Automated Publishing Services introduced us and implemented WoodWing Assets, WoodWing Studio, WoodWing Smart Styles, and lastly, but certainly not least, Wrike. Some of the projects which is relevant to this webinar that Automated Publishing Services introduced, implemented, and integrated was the production automation using our PIM and leveraging the data from our PIM and assets from WoodWing Assets into layouts. Here we have an example of a product database extracted out of WoodWing Assets and exactly how we will use this in order to ramp up production and reduce resource strain. Here we can see we have a simple front cover, back cover, and one master page within the booklet. By selecting the database and pushing this into a pagination solution, just how easy and quickly we are able to produce brochures and booklets. All the red dots you can see is due to the pack shots not being loaded to the system for the sake of this demo, but the rest of the information is concise, validated, approved, and correct. Now simply extracting the PDF. Usually compiling such a book would take days, 2 weeks, 2 months in order for approval. Seeing that the information has been pulled off our PIM, everything is validated and approved. And all while I'm explaining this procedure, we went from having just a front cover to a finished product ready for print and to be pushed into production. Integrated artificial intelligence in order to aid us with media tracking with our WoodWing assets. What we have here is an ad we published a while ago and how we used WoodWing assets to aid us with media tracking. Simply selecting the file within WoodWing assets, we would be able to see where the file has been used, which websites, and how the file has been distributed across the internet. If we look at how we used WoodWing assets in order to help us with brand tracking, by simply taking pictures of facilities, we could easily pick up, even in the back of the image, we would pick up brand names and leverage the information that we could get to the AI integration into WoodWing assets to be able to see exactly where our products has been displayed and where not. Custom webhook development to introduce triggers, automations, notifications on actions within WoodWing assets. Introduced us and scoped for the development to the concept of integrating WoodWing assets and digital signature solutions. Introducing feature concepts, for example, injecting molecule as taxonomies for effortless tagging, filtering, all within WoodWing assets. Aiding with a custom metadata query for complex filtering and better asset management within WoodWing assets. APS also introduced us to Wrike, introduced us to the concept of integrating WoodWing assets and Wrike. Introduced us to the concept of integrating Wrike and digital signature solutions, and assisted in custom workflows within Wrike, to name just a few. What we also have here is, for the sake of this demo, I'm going to show you a simple procedure on how the jobs get in. We have demo product, no special instructions, designation would be RX. Start date, I'm going to push till Monday the 21st, and no additional information. The start date is needed in order for Wrike to calculate the deadline. I will submit and Wrike will do the rest. What we have here is demo product, and as you can see, we have pre-populated the descriptions of all these blueprints. The information we asked already been pushed into the description with a small instruction on the approval workflow. If we do fly this out, we have packaging collateral, and this is also where the magic starts for us. What we used to have is people will brief in jobs either via email or they will send briefing documents through various streams of communication. Then the guys will discuss the carton component and also reference the display shipper component within the carton email feed. And as you can imagine, we start discussing PIL, foil, and blister all within these various feeds. That resulted in a very messy production. Now with Wrike, what we have here is we have structured components with structured streams. If we click on demo product, what we have here is we will load our relevant documentation, and there it sits, and all the communication will commence within this feed. No more cross-referencing to other components within different feeds. What we also have here is the populated deadline based on our start date, and we can extend this should we feel the need to. We have our approvals tab, and we can add subtasks. What we can also have here is, I just want to hop back to the root, is we have a very simple workflow. Completed, hold, cancelled, and this is basically what will trigger this product on going forward. But if we dive down into our component, you will see a custom workflow has been added for that component. And the second I select a stage for this product to start, Wrike will ask me which document I need to be approved. I will select the document. I can select approver. I will select myself for the sake of the demo. I can ask Wrike to please have this approved by 21st September, and I will start the approval. Now, seeing that I'm the approver, I will already receive a notification to either approve or reject, with one file pending my approval. What I can do here is I'll click the document. There we have the document, and I can already see there is a mistake here. This is not demo brief 5, this will be demo brief 6. And this document will open in MS Word. There we go. I can change it to version 6. I can save it, close it, and you can see the file is locked. It's uploaded. Version 2 has been added to this document. Another way to do this will to not open the document, but we will select the file I would like to edit. I can select edit and change the document, save and close, and there we have version 3. Now I'm happy with the state of this document, and I can approve the document. Wrike will ask me, seeing that there's a document to be approved. It is, and I will approve. I'm not going to leave a comment. I will just approve the task and close. What you did not see, because we had the preview open, is the state automatically changed because we have a preset workflow. What I will do now is I will select the second approver for the sake of the demo myself, and I will start approval. Immediately it will pop up to approve, and I will approve, and you will see the state changing. I'm not going to leave a comment, or let's just say no comment, send comment, and let's start another approval. Again, let's change the deadline for this approval to the 24th, and I can select files for this approval, which will just render us to view the file, and we can start approval. And this process will run down the workflow that has been preset. As you can see here, the workflow only displays the second in line to keep it simple for our team members, but the entire workflow is still available should we need to have access to the entire workflow. What happens if I reject this document or approval? If I select reject, what happens, it will push, let's say review, let's review, it will push this document back one state, and I can select an approver to review this process. Start approval, and there we go. And if I select, it will go back and back and back. What will also happen if I do select an approver and I select a file, start approval, and I reject the document I need to open. Let's say changes required. reject task. I will close it. Now it puts the project on hold. So now we need to resolve those issues before we can commence. And as you can see here, I haven't taken any notes. Wrike has been doing this for me through this entire process. To get back to the integration, these files, and there might be numerous components of these files within the system. Just want to hop back, all tasks. Here we can see what's on hold. And we can easily at any stage reinstate this process, select a document, select approvers, and on we go. For the sake of the demo, I'm going to cancel approval and just show you guys exactly what has happened here. Usually in the past, these components will have to be downloaded from our WoodWing Assets environment and added to the Wrike environment. And this is what I've mentioned where the manual management comes in. This file will have to be managed on Wrike, which it does very nicely, but also we'll have to have these versions and communication updated within WoodWing Assets. With the integration, this file has been pulled from WoodWing Assets, and we at no stage have to replace any of our assets on WoodWing Assets. Let's start with WoodWing Assets. WoodWing Assets has been part of our production team for the past 4 years, assisting us with asset filing, asset filtering, asset management, asset selection, development, and production procedures. WoodWing Assets has also been the primary marketing asset manager for the past 4 years, improving production and processes ever since. WoodWing Assets has also aided us in keeping a firm hold on the life cycle of each and every one of our assets, spanning across all regions, including Sub-Saharan Africa, South Africa, India, and all of our partners, manufacturers, and service providers across the globe. Next, we move over to Wrike. Wrike has completely consumed our production communication vehicle, integrated across various business units, aiding staff and teams with all our project management, project assessment, workflow automation, and communication requirements. In addition, Wrike also assists us with video production approval methods and integrated into our corporate communication solutions with bidirectional communication. And just to mention, Wrike has only been with us for the past 12 months. Separately, they are two phenomenal solutions, and we cannot imagine our production process without these tools. But with all Reliant solution models, it came with challenges. The two solutions were not integrated and did not produce a seamless production experience. What we were faced with was siloed communication, various business units sharing updates about the same asset in separate communication channels, polluted email trails, cross-referencing assets and projects from various discussions. In short, not ideal. We were also faced with constant asset management. The management of assets required asset management between the two separate solutions. References per asset from one solution to the other would not reflect without manual intervention, which introduced separate issues. Constant resource management. Stakeholders are required to manage various asset renditions as a constant per project. This means every amendment or addition, our asset management solution had to be updated manually. So it only made sense to marry the two solutions. Now we have structured communication, all asset-specific communication in one single feed. Automated asset management. Automated asset management. Assets are automatically managed between WoodWing Assets and Wrike. Single source of truth. All asset communication on Wrike reflects the relevant assets and versions on WoodWing Assets and vice versa. This integration, features and benefits will be demonstrated later in this webinar. Thank you for your time. Good day.
Now before we start with the demo, I would like to, as you can see from the slide here, the example, we will showcase an example creative workflow within a marketing agency that uses both WoodWing Assets and Wrike. So the client is a marketing agency working for Limitless Interior, an online furniture store, and the users are, so there are three types of users in the scenario: a marketer, a graphic designer, and an external photographer. The use case is on how to create a marketing campaign for an online promotion, collaborating with a graphical designer and an external photographer. Gentlemen, can you hear me? Can you start?
Yeah, I think it's easier if Juan starts with the Wrike part, and then I take over for the assets part.
Okay, so I'm gonna make him a presenter. Juan, you will be made a presenter now. Go ahead.
Alrighty, so we're going to be discussing the creative workflow scenario within Wrike. If you're not familiar with Wrike, this is a view of the environment that we have created for this demo. As you can see, we have a project under the Limitless Interior space or team called the Autumn campaign. And in this Autumn campaign, we have a couple of creative requests, tasks that have been outlined, and I'm going to go through just the typical process that we'll see across our marketing teams. So we initially start with someone, whether it's your manager, your client, starting in your request, right? Wrike makes it easy for you to customize these request forms. In this case, it's a very simple request form. Let's call it, this is my new creative request. I'm going to add some details. I'm going to add a deadline. If I were to hit submit, it'll be automatically assigned to either my operations manager, or if I want to, my creative director, right? Once it's done, let me leave here. It will go to the Autumn requests campaign. And because we have a couple of tasks already done, let's assume that I had done a creative request for product shots because we have a new product campaign coming out. And all of these art pieces have been submitted for this request form. And there's one that we just requested today called the, where is it? Mitchell request form. And I see that Tom has already added some of his comments here. It seems that he wants to use the black chairs instead of these ones. I'm going to add another comment here. Maybe let's work on lighting, and it's going to be sent to at Tom as well if I want to, or anyone else in my team, correct? If I click send, Tom will immediately get that message. It's going to show up in my comment stream. If we have an image with black chairs as well, we can actually compare the chairs side by side with a different version or with a different file, right? And this just goes to our advanced proofing capabilities. So let's assume that now we're happy with one of our creative request files and it's time for approval. This is an example of that one scenario where someone has been very happy with the design. It looks like there's a pending approval here by Tom Heisel. Let's set a due date to make sure that he doesn't miss the approval date, right? And he's going to get an alert saying you have one task for approval, or 9 files for approval. You should go in and approve them right away. We can set this up for all the files or one individual file. Once that's done, the files can be approved. They can be sent to production and pushed out into the market. So that's a quick overview of our file proofing, file reviews, and approval process. Tom, up to you.
Thank you. Juan just assigned a task to me, and we are going to use WoodWing Assets to collect the additional mood images for our autumn campaign. So let's first go to WoodWing Assets. WoodWing Assets allows you to manage and organize any number of assets, whether this be your incoming content streams, content which is in production, or your content repository, which contains all the material you ever created and which is available at your fingertips for reuse. Your content can be organized in 2 ways, which go hand in hand. You can organize content using folders, which I show here on top, or you can organize your content using metadata. So for each asset we have by default over 400 metadata fields, and you can freely extend that with any number of metadata fields. So these metadata fields can then be used to quickly filter down the search results and find the assets and material that you are looking for. We have various views to browse through the assets. So this is the masonry grid. We have a thumbnail view, a list view, and a film strip. But for now I will use the thumbnail view. So let's start by creating a collection and for our campaign. And a collection can be seen as a virtual folder or a basket where we collect all the material needed to complete the task. So we create a collection and we say for the images. So here we go. To make it easy to work with this collection, I add it to my pin collections panel. So let's say pin collections, and then we are going to search for images with relates to the fall. So let's start by just doing a general search within assets on the fall theme. So let's say that we want to use this image, and let's use this one. So what's important to realize is that I searched on fall, and all images with the WoodWing assets are automatically tagged using AI technology. So you can of course manually tag the assets, but you can also use any kind of AI technology to automatically extract the relevant keywords from an asset. So we've added some images to this to the collection, but actually I would like to also include some images which from a photographer. So I'm going to send an upload request where I'm going to share the collection actually, and like this, and then I can send the link to an external photographer, for example, to upload material. So we copy the link, and then the only thing that the photographer has to do is open the link. He doesn't need to log in, and he can directly upload material. So let's find some additional material. Here we go. So the material is now uploaded. I can click the auto finish button, and in the background also this content is automatically tagged. So here we see the images flowing into the system. So now let me show you how you can work with these assets. So you can directly open these assets in Photoshop to edit them. You can also, for example, open InDesign layouts directly in InDesign or Word documents in Word. And the only thing that you have to do is check out the file. So you can use the menu, but of course, if you're a power user, the keyboard shortcuts are much more convenient. So let's say that we want to create a cutout or do more elaborate things. We can do that here. So let's, for the sake of the demo, just create a crop of this image. So we save the image, and then we check in the image again. And in a moment we should see the new preview. There we go. And so every change that you make is automatically versioned. So in the case you want to restore it again, you can just revert a previous version of this image. So I'm now happy with the selection that I made. I can then link my files to the Wrike task, which was assigned to me. So no need to search for it. And in a moment, the images are assigned to the Wrike task. You can also see that here in the below the image. So if we now go back to Wrike, we see that the images are now part of the task, and I can continue my process in Wrike. So we showed you how Wrike and Assets seamlessly work together. In Wrike, you organize your projects and manage your approvals. And with WoodWing Assets, you can easily manage, organize, and reuse any number of assets. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for this nice example and demo. I think, well, this can be the end of this presentation, of this webinar. Of course, we are moving on next to the Q&A session. If you permit me, I see a few questions asked in the panel, and I assume we can also start with this part. There is one question regarding the implementation of the two systems, and I suppose this is best answered by the partner that implemented this, which is APS. We have Andrew Parrington on the line joining us as an attendee. Can you possibly, Andrew, answer the following? How long did it take you to set up the systems?
Hi, Magdalena. Yes, sure. That's a great question. So from the initial setup, when we first went into Cipla on the Elvis side of things, it took us just short of 5 days. We actually arrived on the Monday, scoped the environment, got everything set up, and by close of business on Friday, all the assets were in their system and they were up and running and ready to go. From the Wrike side of things, it was also an incredibly simple and easy process. Our first day was really set up and site, and took a look at the environment, the servers, all the information that was required. We set up their general workflow. Day 2, we just did a bit of testing on the workflows, and by the 3rd day, we were actually live and running with the Wrike integration.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for answering this. It's quite good to know that it was really easy to set this up and quite quick. Next is a question for Wrike. So which type of organizations is Wrike built for? Would you say that Wrike is only used by the marketing and creative teams? I suppose Juan can answer this question.
Yep, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. Wrike was built for any type of organization. In fact, as we've been hit with the pandemic, we've seen more and more of its benefits come out in organizations from small to multi-million Fortune 100 organizations. So it really is for everyone. We do have some vertical solutions as part of our product that are specific to marketing teams, right? And called Wrike for Marketers, and even professional services teams. But I would say we work across the board from healthcare to retail, right? The whole idea is we're helping your teams be better and do the best work ever. Creative teams tend to benefit quite a bit, right? So from Wrike, because it's such a disjointed, kind of chaotic industry to begin with. So we definitely have experience in there, but we're not just limited to that. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for answering that. I think there is another one that's connected to the integration and about the customizability. I don't know if Juan or Tom can answer any of these. So to what extent is this integration customizable, and are WoodWing Assets and Wrike customizable solutions?
Yeah, let me answer that from the WoodWing side. Thank you for the question. Yeah, so WoodWing is a very open. WoodWing Assets is a very open system using modern APIs. You can freely integrate WoodWing Assets with any kind of application, and it also we also showcased that today with the integration between Wrike and Assets. This was a very smooth process, so to say, to integrate these two applications.
Perfect. I don't know if Juan would like to comment about the customizability of Wrike.
Yes, just two sentences very quickly. Wrike was built for the customizing request, let's call it, where every company is different. And in fact, we have an entire department, independent department, built to support any request that customers might have, right? So I don't think the challenge with Wrike has ever been customizability, and we consider that one of our strengths, that we can tailor make it to your needs.
Great, thank you. I see another interesting question here, and I suppose this is best answered by our guest speaker, Steven. The question is this one. What time did it take you to start working with the solutions, both WoodWing Assets and Wrike, right after you implemented the integration?
Yes. Sorry. Yes. I can answer both of for these solutions at the same time. After implementation, we could physically start immediately. Obviously, excluding the writing of the policies and cementing these processes within the organization. But as far as users and usability go, we could have we started exactly the same day after implementation. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, for answering that last question. In regards to our time, I think it is best to wrap up the session. I want to thank again our guest speakers for joining and sharing their knowledge and insights into how these tools interact together and integrate. If you're interested to find out more about WoodWing, you can visit our website on woodwing.com. If you would like to find out more about Wrike, you can always visit wrike.com. If in case you have any questions that you didn't manage to leave in the right panel, in the GoToWebinar panel, feel free to message us on webinar@woodwing.com, and we'll make sure to get back to you with answers. Thank you again for joining the webinar and attending, and hope to see you next time. Goodbye.